Right, we're just going to do, put it that way, a few little bits for the full moon in Gemini. We've pretty much done to death the organ. If I've got any missing, I'm going to make a playlist of them for you. So, I'm going to read a little bit about the history of the runes now, so we can get into that and see a bit more about that. We'll stop at the gods and we'll maybe read a bit more of them later. So, even before the runes had achieved the status of fully fledged alphabet, the peoples of ancient Europe had carved their symbols into stones and trees to mark their territories, to represent their regions and religions' convictions. Symbols of this type are known as runes and are the ancestors of the runic forms we know today. It is likely that the alphabetical order of the runes derives from the written language of the Etruscan inhabitants of northern Italy. The Germanic tribes in the Alps, modern-day Switzerland and Austria, combined the Etruscan form of writing with their own traditional symbols and spread this knowledge among their kindred tribes. From the very beginning, runes were thought to be magical in nature. They were used for the casting of lots to foretell the future, for magic to influence harvests, a sea voyage, or to curse, to bless, to make love spells. They were also carved into sword blades to make them more deadly, into shields so that they would provide added protection, and into rings and necklaces to increase the beauty of the wearer. True mastery of the runes was a highly respected skill of the wise men and women of the times. Those who had endured the ordeals of initiation into the mysteries of the runes were called rune masters, and were considered separate from and superior to the general mass of the populace. In the Norse saga of Eric the Red, there is a description of a woman who was wise in the ways of the runes. So, if you're looking for a message from Spirit today, Eric and the redhead could be important. The ancient Roman historian Tacitus, writing at the end of the 1st century AD, provided a description of the Teutonic people in his book Germania. Although Tacitus was mainly concerned with the customs, physique and warlike nature of the tribe of the north of the Alps, he has also provided the first known account of runic divination. It does not take much of an imagination to identify certain marks as runic symbols cut into wood of the fruit-bearer's tree. Tacitus also describes divination taken from the flights of birds, the neighing of horses, and the course of battle between two combatants. But be that as it may, the practice of casting the runes is virtually identical to one of the methods employed today. After Christianity was introduced to Scandinavia and Iceland during the early medieval period, use of the runes for divination or in talismans was frowned upon as being akin to witchcraft. There are accounts, for example, of a man being burned at the stake for possessing a dice cup engraved with a rune, Pertha, which was believed to aid gamblers. Nevertheless, the runic arts continued secretly in Iceland until the death of the last great rune master in the middle of the 17th century, which ended an unbroken mystical tradition that was then over 2,000 years old. However, this was not the end of the story for the runes. The 19th century saw a revival of interest, not only in runes but in the Nordic past in general. The mystical traditions of the Germanic peoples were again focused on those who wished to renew their link with an almost mythical past. However, this also had a dark side in the form of extreme nationalism, overt racism, especially in the works of Guido von List, who invented a restored version of the ancient Nordic alphabet that he called the Armenian runes. Von List provided these runes completely with suitably twisted interpretations, the better to fit in with his own fascist ideology. It was the Armenian rune that were used by the Nazis in Germany as source for their swastika symbol, along with the SS insignia, and to further their sinister form of neo-pagan nationalism. It is this connection of the runes with Nazi symbolism that brought the runes into disrepute during the post-war period. It was only at the end of the 20th century that the original purpose of the runes, now shorn of the dubious symbolism that has been thrust upon them, was restored. Today, the 24 runes of the Elder Firthach can be helpful guide to the mysterious web of weird that governs the fate of us all. So, there's a message of a lady who wore a cloak set with stones along the hem around her neck and covered her head. She wore a hood lined with white catskins. In one hand she carried a staff with a knob on the end, and from her belt, holding together her long dress, hung a charm pouch, which was the runes. So, that's your bedtime story, because we're going to talk about the Norse a little bit and the runes. And I'm going to do I Ching, and then I'll do a full moon Gemini read. Thanks for listening. Bye.